But Mike, listen, we got some stuff to cover by Ubisoft, and we have a Bible of a title that can't wait for you to read again.
Jeez. So at the beginning of every single one of our preps, we'll go through and read the articles real quick. And this title is ridiculous. So if anybody's just listening and you got video, switch over and look at it. It's coming from PC Gamer by Molly Taylor. I understand why. I assume that's a female. I understand why she actually wrote it out this way, because if you would have started with the first sentence, I probably wouldn't have cared. But then when you add more clarity, it's like, okay, let's click on it.
Yeah.
So the title of the article is Ubisoft is stripping people's licenses for The Crew weeks after its shutdown, nearly squandering hopes of servers and acting as a stark reminder of how volatile digital ownership is. So The Crew is a racing game, for anybody that's curious. Kind of fell off a cliff. It was kind of supposed to be a competitor to the Need for Speed franchises. So Ubisoft has gone one step further to try and stop people getting into The Crew. So the downside of digital ownership, which we've talked about multiple times on the show, has reared its ugly head for enjoyers of Ubisoft's open-world multiplayer racer, The Crew. The publisher has revoked its license for those who owned it on Ubisoft Connect, also destroying fan ambitions to revive the game in both an offline and online format. A little bit of context here. Do you remember the game Rocksmith?
I do.
I have Rocksmith on multiple devices,
I have it on Steam.
specifically that 360 over there.
Okay.
It will not work anymore, and it won't work on Steam because you have to, like, I bought it on a different platform that wasn't Ubisoft, or it was Uplay or whatever the heck, because they like cycle through these because they always fail. And yeah, I lost the ability to play the game now.
Wow.
Yeah, people were telling me you had to go to like the beta or alpha format of the game to get into it, and then bricked. It doesn't work, so I'm like, okay, I guess I won't be practicing on that guitar right there in the background.
Dude,
it's very annoying. A little bit of unfriendly consumer practices by Ubisoft all across the board. Let's continue on. So The Crew was pulled from sale back in December, with Ubisoft revealing that the servers would be shut down at the beginning of April. Frustratingly, despite a large portion of the game being doable in single player, The Crew remained an online-only endeavor throughout its decade-long lifespan. That has already rendered the game unplayable, but it seems Ubisoft is determined to take things one step further to stamp out any attempts to continue playing its past its expiry date. Fans began to notice earlier in the week that the license to the game had been snatched away from them. A message at the top of the game's library page reads, "You no longer have access to this game. Why not check the store to pursue your adventures?" It's also been moved to its own individual section in player libraries listed under inactive games. Apparently, booting the game directly from the installation directory will still launch the game, but only in a demo mode. That's what I was talking about when it comes to Rocksmith. Very annoying. So the news has, unsurprisingly, gone down very poorly. This was the saddest and most ruthless decision I've ever seen in gaming history. One Redditor commented after a screenshot began circulating on the site. Dude, Redditors are always upset. Come on.
Yeah,
I will always fight for the digital media. I love all the advantages it gives its users all around the world, but we need protection on the national and European level. That when we purchase something, we need to have lifetime access to it no matter what. A further Reddit user called it really abhorrent behavior that needs to stop being legal. With another writing, in an ideal world, revoking a license like this should entitle the buyer to a refund. I'm not sure why they're even bothering doing this. The game isn't playable anymore, so what exactly is the harm in keeping the game available for download for those who have purchased it? Server space? Is Ubisoft really that cheap? Yeah, they're barely surviving, brother.
Yeah, baby. Have we seen these forwards? Have we seen what's going on? Have we seen these games flopping, as they say?
Constant flopping of the games, underperforming all around, like Ubisoft. Just in general, they've been canceling multiple games. They've been laying off a bunch of different people. Doing certain, like, entire studios have been closing. Like, Ubisoft is in trouble right now. Let's make no mistake about that. But they do have a good point here. If it's downloadable, why not just remove it from the servers to be downloaded? Why do you have to make it an always online experience and then you're taking up server space?
Yeah, it's true.
Just like, hey, this is your last time to buy it. Kind of like how Nintendo does with their digital copies. They're just like, hey, this is the last time to buy it. After that, we're like taking it off the store. We're getting rid of the store completely. But if you have it now, you're good to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's how it should be. I don't understand why that's not the case.
Yeah. Look, two things Ubisoft that indicate the state of the company. We'll start with one. I really hope I get this game right. I think it was this game that Yves Guillemot said on an investor call or something like that. He said something, I'm pretty sure, I really hope I'm right here. I'm pretty sure it was Skull and Bones. He said it was like quadruple A or something like that. He said some ridiculous claim about how some game was quadruple A. I don't know if it was Skull and Bones, maybe another one. But it was like a game where everyone was like, what? Like, it's barely triple A. Anyways. But it just didn't make sense. And then also, talking about especially all the backlash that's come out about the new Star Wars game that is charging like crazy money and stuff like that for the game on certain like versions or something like that. Like everyone's already annoyed and pissed off, and like game's nowhere near out yet. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, what game is that? Is Rogue Star Wars?
I'm forgetting the subtitle. Outlaws. That is, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm in a fantasy like group for game releases, and we do it based on it's on Game Critics, so we do it based on releases of games. You're able to pick somebody else's pick as being worse than 70 score, and mine like insta locked. Like you can also pick things that aren't gonna likely release. Easy one was like Hades 2 is like rumored to be out, but we've got nothing, so it's like it's probably gonna be out next year. So I was like, okay, Hades 2, whatever.
Yeah.
And then somebody picked Star Wars Outlaws like third round of the draft. And I'm like, oh, that is definitely my anti-pick. Like, there's no way this game is gonna be good. Just everything that we followed about Ubisoft, they're falling apart, man. There just hasn't been good news coming out of there in a while.
Oh, see, Mike, I was right. Ubisoft CEO comments on Skull and Bones $70 price, calls it a quadruple A game. This was on February 9th, and it was on Game Rant. This is the article that posted it. It's like, dude, what are we talking about? Yeep, what are we talking about? Oh man, Ubisoft.
Bro, I think the problem. I think this is going to be kind of a hot take, right? I think the problem with studios that are like AAA studios, big publishers, and they have all this money backing, and like there's a lot of pressure. The people that are doing the PR work and the marketing teams have no idea what the game is, like at all. They're just like they go to a couple of meetings, conference meetings every now and then. They sit in a couple of calls. They hear that everything's going great by the development team, but the development team is like stressed out of their mind. They can't do what they think they can do. And like the deadlines are getting pushed, but it's like the PR guy always needs to talk up the game constantly. And it just release is busted. There's like a complete separation between marketing and like selling the product and the actual development of the product. Have you noticed that? Like a great example is the Fallout games and Tom Howard. Is it Tom or Tim Howard?
Todd Howard.
Todd. Yeah, she's. I picture him in my face, and I always called him Howard. So, T. Howard. So yeah, I think that's a good example. Like anything by 343 Industries in the last like 10 years, that they're completely disconnected from reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't understand. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that's my take.
Like, oh, dude, I shouldn't be defending Todd Howard because, like, especially with 76, it was just so bad. But like, I mean, he was like
terrible.
From like, from like Daggerfall all the way to like Fallout 4. Like he was pretty heavily involved in most of those games, and they were pretty good. But then like when Fallout 76 happened, too many cooks in the kitchen. They didn't have to fully flesh it out, and so it just released unplayable and just a mess, and it was very upsetting. And then like Starfield came out. Granted, which I don't think about Starfield. Like, I feel like it just hasn't aged well for some people. Like, I like everywhere I'm seeing now, it's like Steam reviews are like kind of mixed. It's 50-50. People either think it's super boring or they really like it. And there's like a lot of like negative reviews on that game now. But I don't know. I mean, I thought it was good. It's I will admit it wasn't like it wasn't like insanely groundbreaking or like whoa, like this is the next thing.
Yeah.
But I thought it was I thought it was a lot better than 76 was, and kind of it released a lot better certainly.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still really enjoyed the game. I mean, I defend it in that aspect. I mean, I thought it was a good Bethesda RPG. That being said, I hope Elder Scrolls 6 they really kind of push a little bit more outside their kind of RPG sort of, I guess, like kind of typical style that they go with. Kind of fall back into the Skyrim kind of thing of just like, having something expansive and something that's, has a good gameplay loop and whatnot. But I mean, so all that to say, like, I like Todd so much, and like I see it all the time every time that he does like interviews and stuff like that. The YouTube comments, there's always someone that's like, dude, he's like, every time I hear Todd Howard speak, it's like, it's like an ex-girlfriend you still have feelings for. It's like, it's just like, they hurt you in the past, so you're just like, you can't help but have feelings for them. That's kind of what it's like for me with, Bethesda and Todd Howard. But yeah,
I think that's a fair assessment. I think anybody that has had the Todd Howard experience through just it's like everybody had to have felt that at one point.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's going on too is it's just it goes back to how there's that disconnect, and I don't think Starfield was a bad game, but I think they got bad reviews because the people that played the game were expecting it to be a different type of game. Like there wasn't a clear vision in the marketing of what Starfield actually was. To me, it was like,
yeah,
at
I mean,
least. It just really pretty, like a great exploration game in space, and then you can do whatever you want, and then you get there, and it's just like, well, I can't do everything I want. It's like I can't really travel the way I thought I could travel.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
know,
that's
maybe,
fair. I think just yeah.
It was very odd, and I think people just they got the wrong impression from the marketing team and the trailers, and it's like seeing a movie like because the trailer looks phenomenal, and then you get to the movie and you're like, the trailer was the exact opposite of the movie.
Yeah, they
Like,
hyped it up too much, or they showed too much in the trailer. Like,
yeah, it's just like the trailer was better than the movie sometimes.
Yep.
That's kind of how it is, and it's not that the movie was bad or the game was bad. It's just it wasn't what you were expecting, so your like expectations skew your experience.
Yeah,
sometimes,
dude. And look, before we get off this topic of this article, I just have to say, listen. If I go to Steam reviews, Mike, and I'm scrolling through reviews of a game to try and gauge interest among the community, if I see you have any more than 500 hours played on a game and you give it not recommended, I'm not reading your review. I'm sorry. You put 500 hours into the game and you don't like it. Like at the time, I don't know, Mike. The time. I mean, unless you leave it open, unless you leave it open, like something tells you kind of like the game. You spent 500 hours on it. I'm just saying.
500 hours is a long time. Like, let's just do a quick math here. How many hours on average, when you have no life, no job, no commitments, do you think you would spend a day?
I mean, think about it like this. It's so funny.
I could put in 6 hours if I have no life.
Yeah, maybe.
That's 83 days. 84 days.
I mean, months to the average individual. Listen, also a side note, I always like every now and again I'll look at Witcher 3 reviews because it's always like funny to see like because like that game is so beloved. It's so beloved, right? So you just see like everyone raves about it. It really is a good RPG from what I've heard. But like I went on there like in like a recent review that was left like a month ago, someone clocked exactly 10,000 hours. Exactly. On the game, and they left a review. Jeez. I was like, dude, that is a single player game, Mike. That is like 414 days nonstop. If you go nonstop, that would take me years to log that many hours on a single player.
It's been out for like 10 years, hasn't it? It's been out for a long time.
10 years. I mean, it's certainly doable, but that's just insane, man. 10,000 hours on a single player game. I mean, that's a good game right there. You got people dedicating that kind of time.
I mean, dude, if you're playing that many hours, if you're out in public, that's probably all you bring up and talk about.
Yeah, maybe.
You know? I mean, it's a good story, so whatever. Yeah. I knew a guy that played nothing but Fallout, and like hearing him talk about Fallout. No, it wasn't Fallout, was it? It was what's the game? I have it over there somewhere. It's an Xbox game that was like you're buried underneath the ocean or something. BioShock. Yeah, you were talking about BioShock forever, and I was fascinated by everything because I was like, this is a really good story. I want to play this. And the guy knew everything, and he was like explaining it. I was looking forward to working with him. I'm like, yo, what happened next in the story, dude? Give me the full lore. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,